Continuing on now. My next guest, Dr. Jonathan Schanzer, is the executive director of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He previously worked as a terrorism finance analyst in the U.S. Department of the Treasury. He followed and froze the funding of Hamas and al-Qaeda. Doctor, welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be with you.
Good to have you here. The United Kingdom has halted its trade talks with Israel, we've learned, over its, quote, intolerable Gaza offensive. All right, as we address the war that began on 10/7, not at Israel's aggression, but at the aggression of terrorists, where are we? I mean, those that are opposed to the war call it a genocide. Obviously, it's ugly. War is ugly. I don't know that it would qualify as a genocide, but it qualifies as an ongoing assault back and forth involving terrorists that hide under schools and hospitals and build tunnels and murder hostages and people at music festivals. But having said that, it doesn't make it all that much more palatable to see women and children killed in Gaza that had nothing to do with that. I mean, it's a tough spot to be, isn't it, Doctor?
It is a tough spot, and I'll just say that's exactly Hamas's strategy, right? They're still holding 59 hostages. We understand that maybe around 20 of them are still alive, but they're holding these bodies, and it's driving the Israeli people crazy right now because they just want these people home. We know that Hamas is essentially defeated here. I mean, they don't have the ability to conduct military operations the way that they did on October 6th. They've lost something like 20,000 fighters. They've lost the vast majority of their rockets. They just don't have the capabilities any longer. But what they do have the ability to do is to keep fighting Israel and to not surrender. And that's their strategy, and that is working right now because it is setting off countries like the UK, also the Canadians, the French. They're all issuing tough statements against Israel saying, look, the hard work's done. You've won the war. Just end this thing. And the Israelis are saying, wait a minute. We still have 59 bodies that are being held inside the Gaza Strip, and Hamas has yet to surrender. And so there's unfinished business from the perspective of the Israelis. But don't forget also, Hamas is just one front among 7 that the Iranian regime has activated against Israel, right? We've seen attacks from Lebanon, from Syria, from Iraq, from Yemen, from Iran.
Let me ask you about that. Let me ask you about Donald Trump. The president went to the Middle East here last week, went to Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, as you know. And along the way, he said he would have conversations and lift sanctions against Syria. He would have conversations with the people in Lebanon. Some people were concerned about that. I think it's probably the right move. If you want to bring peace to the region, you got to try something different. He's trying something different. He's discussing different options. Some of them might be incredibly outlandish, like turning Gaza into a resort on the Mediterranean. But at least we're having different discussions, right? I don't know if that's realistic. It's probably just pie in the sky stuff. But at least it's a different damn discussion finally, isn't it?
It is. And look, the Gaza thing, I think, is right now going nowhere because, we know where we are with Gaza. That's not going to turn into Gaza Lago anytime soon. However, I will say you got, Lebanon, things are actually going pretty well right now. The Lebanese government and the Israeli government working through the United States are actually doing serious damage to Hezbollah. And I think the Israelis are incredibly happy with this. I'm hearing from the Lebanese government that they're happy with this. So you can give full credit to the Trump administration for what's happening there. Syria, I got to say, it felt a little premature to lift those sanctions. My understanding is that after Donald Trump made that announcement, the Treasury kind of pushed back and said, look, we're going to do this for 180 days. We're going to see how it works. We're not doing this, ad infinitum. We're not going to say we're just going to lift the sanctions and there's nothing else that we're going to do here. And in the interim, we're going to wait and see how this new government, which is populated by al-Qaeda fighters that used to work with ISIS, we're going to see how they respond. We're going to see if they are pragmatic, if they are going to work with the United States. And by the way, since Donald Trump made that announcement, they have started to engage in talks with the Israelis about possible normalization. So you're right. We are changing the topic. It's good news.
Let me ask you this, Doctor. If the Israelis make a preemptive strike on Iran and its nuclear facilities anytime in the near future, does it undermine Donald Trump's attempts to bring peace to the Middle East? Does it undermine those efforts? That's what's being said in some corners. I want your take.
Look, I'll tell you this. If the Israelis carry out that strike and it's successful and they destroy the nuclear program, all will be forgiven. If they carry out that strike and it does not work, or if it's only a temporary fix to a problem that comes back in 6 months or a year, well, then we've got problems between Israel and the United States. The Israelis have done this a couple of times now. They took out Saddam Hussein's reactor in 81. They took out the Syrian reactor in 2007. They were successful. And so while it was condemned publicly, there were high fives going on behind the scenes. That's what I think happens here. But I think, again, it all depends on whether the Israelis are successful in taking out that program once and for all.
So if you hit them in the mouth, make sure it's a good swing. I mean, honestly, that's what you're saying. Don't. You got to knock them out. You can't leave them standing, right? Because
That's
if they're
right.
a little beat up and bruised but can come back, that's a problem. Same thing with Hamas. They must be completely eradicated. Otherwise, like the weed of the root of the weed, it'll come back, is what I'm saying. Anyhow, I greatly appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Look, it's a knockout punch or it's a wasted punch, is what he's saying. Hey, don't forget to get the best coffee you can and support this program at the same time. 1775 coffee. You know, some coffee is weak and corporate and just propaganda. But then there's 1775 coffee. Bold, high quality, built for those who refuse to compromise, hand-picked, high altitude, single origin beans roasted to perfection. No toxins, no shortcuts. As they say, it's just damn good coffee. If you want in, go to 1775coffee.com/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber and you're in for 10% off. Start your day right with me and 1775 coffee. Roasted by Patriots for Patriots. Again, one more time, 1775coffee.com/Gruber. Get 10% off and start your day right with this great big cup of Joe with me. I'll be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.